Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from the Accelerator Building in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. And tonight we're here with Nanticoke stand-up comedian Zack Hammond.
Hello.
He is recording his next comedy album live at Karl Hall in Wilkes-Barre on Friday, July 29th. So we're going to talk about the process of writing and developing new material, telling offensive jokes in an easily offended world, driving all over the country and stories from the road, making a living as a comic, the recording of his previous 4 albums, the comedy special format, why he chose Karl Hall to record this album, and much more. So please stay tuned for the full hour. We would love to hear from you guys down in the comments below, no matter what format you're watching tonight. Please leave those comments in there, jokes, whatever you want. If you want to say terrible things about this guy, you want to say wonderful things about this guy, just him, not me, though. And leave those down below, and we will get to them later in the show. Before we dive in, I want to thank our sponsor, Special Guest, who has provided us with this lovely office space, equipment, and funds to make this podcast and our website possible. Special Guest is a talent booking marketplace, making it easier for talented people to get discovered and booked. It was founded in 2017 by actor-comedian Damon Wayans Jr., alongside local entrepreneur Chris Jones. Check them out at specialguestapp.com or download their app on iTunes or Google Play. They just launched a free program to help talent and talent professionals create and sell merch online and in person at events. Local musicians are already using it right now, so check out merchbooth.com for details. And anybody who mentions our show tonight, just like we did a couple of weeks ago, the first 6. Okay, so yeah, the next 6 people who go to merchbooth.com and sign up for it. Okay.
All right.
We'll see. Maybe 5.
Yeah, I'll take shit from people. That's fine.
Guess what? The number just went down.
Send me your hatred.
So watch how fast it goes down now that we said it.
So with that, you get your own merch website, and then also a free design as well. Is that part of that deal? All right.
Whatever you guys want. There's 5 of them. There's probably only 4 left.
Thank you, John Fry, off camera. Appreciate that.
That's how we market.
Parlor Beverages has also provided us with the best fucking root beer out there now. They have root beer, birch beer, and butterscotch, and you can get these at many local grocery stores like Garrity's, as well as online. So if you want some shipped directly to you, visit drinkparlor.com, use promo code NEPAScene for 10% off. Have you ever had this before? Have you ever had Parlor before?
I have not.
Do you want to try one?
Yeah, why not? Let's be a whore.
All right. That is the birch beer, I believe, which you can't be from Northeast PA unless you love birch beer. But you're not originally from Northeast PA.
I am not, but that is damn good.
You heard it here first. Damn good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I just had Paul Spratt and Mike Peters a couple of weeks ago. So I figure, maybe there'll be a few crossover questions there, some of the stuff we talked about, but obviously there's going to be, some very different stuff as well, because I've known you a long, long time. So there's a little bit of a history there. You were at some of the first open mics.
We've been through a lot of venues.
Yes.
A lot of venues and a lot of awful people who are in jail.
And hopefully we'll fucking stay there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the entertainment business, I guess.
God, I hope it's not.
Well, let's start off on a more positive notes. We'll go all the way back to the beginning. Okay. When I was young, I kind of grew up on like Monty Python and like Kids in the Hall and stuff, and that kind of started to shape my sense of humor. Where did you get influenced by anything at an early age? Do you think that had any effect on that?
I mean, cliche wise, my family's really just fucked up. and they're all insane. And they just talk to each other however they want to. My mom's father, who we always called Pop, was an only child, and he was just a very selfish person. And as a result, he would just that selfishness would accentuate everywhere. He just didn't give a shit. There were vacations where I remember one time we went to Myrtle Beach, and I was in the hotel, and out of nowhere, he just storms into the room and goes, "I'm tired of this shit. He can go fuck himself. I am done with vacation. I'm going home." And I'm going, "What happened?" And my dad goes, "Well, your brother, who was like 4 years old, was on the beach digging a hole in the sand, and he threw some sand behind him, and a little bit got on Pop's foot, and he said, 'That's it, vacation's over.'" It's one of my favorite people in the entire world. Doesn't give a shit about anybody, just his own personal happiness and well-being. He and my Nana just talked to each other like they were both pieces of shit, but there was love between them. And my dad and my mom had an awful marriage, and instead of like divorcing and allowing us to be like with healthy parents, they subjected my brother and I to that for like 20 fucking years, and we just watched it unfold in front of us. So I watched that, and there's no way to be involved in that and either be healthy, like properly mentally healthy.
Right.
And the only way to deal with that was just humor and joke around and laugh about it. And when I was in college, I would tell stories about shit that happened at home, and people would laugh about it. I'm like, all right, there's something there. And then growing up, Comedy Central, when they were still doing like comedy specials all the time, or like their 30-minute specials, like Comedy Central Presents.
Oh yeah, those were great.
Or when they would just air just old specials from people, like they for whatever reason, Comedy Central fucking loved Gallagher. And they would put every single one of his specials on Comedy Central at like 5 a.m. And I remember watching them and enjoying. Like, I didn't learn anything from Gallagher other than not to be a racist piece of shit later on in life. But yeah, for those of you who loved Gallagher as a kid, he is a racist, homophobic person now. He is not a nice guy. And I would watch those, and then any other comedy special that was on. And they would always be not like mainstream comics. Like they wouldn't, I think they may have aired like 1 or 2 like old Carlin specials on there, but it was always like up and coming comics who were in their 40s, because that's what comedy is. You have to be in your 40s before you're an up and coming comic. It's fucking wild. But that's the stuff I would watch, and I'd enjoy it. I loved it, but I just never had the courage to like get into it. I always had horrible stage fright, but that's where it started, is just watching Comedy Central and just being around crazy people my whole life.
So what gave you that push to actually like get on stage? I mean, I know you were doing you wanted to do an open mic, or you found one at one point.
So when I was in college, I want to say I waited until I was 21, because most of the open mics are in bars.
Right.
And some places are really stringent about whether or not they're going to let underage people in. So I had found an open mic. It was at the Wisecrackers in Scranton, which was in the Clarion at that time. Now it's like a 4 Points or some shit like that. It's not the same thing anymore. Yeah. It's a much cleaner, nicer place. And my girlfriend at the time found the open mic, and she's like, "You're going to this. We're going to do this." I went, okay. So I wrote material, and I went up and I fucking bombed. It was really bad. And I remember at the time that I had ignorantly mentioned on stage that I'm an English major. And then somebody in the audience went, "Well, good luck with having a career in that." Oh. And I didn't have the skills or the talent to go, "Shut up, bitch." You know what I mean? So I just rolled with it. I was like, "Thank you." Okay. And the host there at the time, Terry Granahan, who's known me from the beginning, encouraged me to come back. And ignorantly I did. And I went back the next time. I had a little bit better of a set, and I just kept going back over and over. And slowly my stage fright went away, and the stage became a place where I'm the most comfortable. At least that's where you're going to, if you don't know me personally, the stage is where you're going to see like the most me that like my friends and family and loved ones will see me.
When did you know that this was something you really wanted to like pursue further? Was there a particular set or something that just made you go, okay, yeah, this is it?
I would say right from the beginning, I always knew that I wanted to do it. Once I started comedy, I was like, this is the thing for me, because I hated all other like normal jobs. Like I did retail, and everybody knows retail sucks, but there's, and then I worked like in an office setting, and I can't be in places where people think that meaningless jobs like that fucking matter. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Like just somebody's like, oh, I didn't get that report in. Like, what am I going to do? Get it in tomorrow. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. This shit is unimportant to everybody. I remember working for one company that like sold doors, which, wow, how fucking exciting is that? And I remember one of our like big bosses came in for a big meeting, and he's like, we got a new way to streamline selling doors. It's pretty exciting. I'm like, your wife should fucking divorce you, because that is not exciting. That is boring as shit. And if that excites you, your life is worthless to everybody. And I was like, I cannot be that person. This is the only job that I can do where I feel comfortable all the time. And yeah, there's the pressure of making sure that you have enough work so that you can get your bills paid and everything, and making sure that you're able to sustain yourself and be relevant and, write new material all the time. But that's stuff that I want to do, that I feel is integral to making sure that I'm a better comedian, and that I, for my sake, my own integrity, my own morals, that I am able to last long enough to keep doing it. That shit's important to me. I do not understand people that bring their work home with them, because I never would bring my work home with me, and I'd have coworkers go, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this place. That's how I do it. Like, yeah, they're giving me a paycheck. Wow. That doesn't give them power over me. It's like that scene in The Dark Knight Rises where the guy's like, I paid you a fortune, and Bane's like, this gives you power over me? I'll break your fucking neck right here. I don't care. It's a useless fucking way to live. And I get that some people are cool with that. And if you are, God bless you. You're technically a better person than I am. But I can't do that shit. This is the only thing I can do that makes me happy and keeps me semi-sane. So I'm sticking with it until the fucking wheels fall off. That's the only way to do it.
Well, this area is kind of known for its, let's just say, bitter cynicism.
Oh, yeah. It's a great place to start comedy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, did that have an effect on your comedy at all, do you think?
Yes and no. It had an effect in that it was a good place for somebody like me to start, because I am a cynic. I don't believe in anything. I think everything is horse shit. I have my own personal beliefs that I stick to, and I don't, unless it's like the law and I don't want to go to jail, I kind of just follow that shit.
Right.
But everything else I don't believe in. I think most of the stuff that we think is important is stupid. Like just being nice to each other, the fucking social contract, I think is horseshit. It annoys me to have to just put up with like a dickhead all the time. Like, I don't feel like doing that. So I just tell people how I feel and I fuck off. Like, that's just the way I do things. So this area really helped that, and it helps. And I think it helps most comics, because people enjoy it when people go on rants, and when you have a point to make, and you're coming from a place of not necessarily anger, but just annoyance, and just when you're bothered with shit. And even when I go out to like the West Coast, where everybody's, just all the time, the people that come out for comedy, they want to hear you get into shit. They want to hear you say something, because they're just surrounded by people all day long wagging their finger at them and going like, that's not okay. Like, we all gotta like each other. And then you have a comic go on stage and go, this group, fuck them. And they're like, yeah, exactly. We agree. You need that. So this area helped me immensely in that, because it also teaches you what's too far in regards to like cynicism, or it helps me build up who I am and express it in a way that was palatable to people.
Okay.
Because even somebody that's bitter and angry, there are people that like, you can be even more bitter and angry, and they're like, you need to fucking lighten up, man. Like, you're a stand your ground person. I don't need to lighten up at all. Like, you're cool with shooting people on your front lawn. I said just do it to a baby. Like, why are we arguing about this right now? So yeah, the area helped. I liked it. It works out. It worked out for me very, very well.
Well, you bring up a good point. There's so much talk, and I think there's way too much talk about the whole idea of, you just constantly hear cancel culture, this and that and whatever. And I feel like people are making it more of a thing than it is by talking about it constantly. You're manifesting it into a thing instead of it actually being a real thing.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I think there is an audience that wants to hear things that are on the edge, that are offensive and stuff like that. I don't know if that'll ever really go away. I just think that maybe this is focusing on a small group of people who are just going to throw their hands up at everything for attention, and that the rest of it, am I warm on that?
Yeah. So I hate the term cancel culture because it's just, now it's like a cliched word that everybody uses.
Exactly.
And it's a blanket term. And for me, I've always felt it's like a compliance culture because they want you to act a certain way. That's really what the root of it is they want you to act, think, and behave a certain way. And the irony of that is it was conservatives that were like that 15 or 20 years ago that wanted everybody to act, think, and behave in a certain way. And they still do. It's just in a different way. Now, liberals and Democrats, whatever you want to call them, have now taken up that particular side of it. And they want you to act, think, and behave in a certain way. Because I've had friends that have said, like, I think transgender people are full of shit, but I don't think that they should have like rights taken away from them. And people are like, you're a fucking bigot for saying that. It's like, no. He still thinks they deserve to be treated like human beings and they should have every single right. He just doesn't fully believe them. That's a progressive idea that if you don't agree with what somebody is doing, but you still feel they should have the same everything as everyone else, that's a progressive idea. That's not a bigot. You're the fucking bigot because you're telling them that, well, you got to the same place that we did, but you didn't take the same road that we took. And that's where like the horse shit comes in. Because it's not enough that like we all, believe the same thing. Now it's like, well, you need to believe it for the same reasons that I do. Like, no, I don't. Like, nobody has to do anything for the reasons that you did it. You did it for your reasons. That's cool. Enjoy your life. So for me, it's compliance. But even in that sense, yeah, it's a small minority of people that are bitching, and the news, social media, they will pick up on those people and they will just throw them to the top of everything because we've learned negativity gets way more traction than positivity does. If you go out there and you're just like, I don't like this group of people, holy shit, are you going to get a lot of attention? And that's why we have trolls, and because they like that attention. But that's what media is there for right now, is to just push as much horrible shit up front and have everybody react to it. Because I've been on the road for like the last 5 years. I mean, just straight on the road all the time. And when I'm out there, I'm talking to normal people. Like, people are coming out, seeing my act, seeing the shit that I do, and still talking to me after I said it. And I'm left of center. I'm a liberal. And they'll come up to me and they're like, I get that you're a liberal. And they're like, I voted for Trump. I'm like, okay. And you don't hate me? No. Do you hate all the people everybody says that Trump voters hate? Like, no, I just want to be left the fuck alone and keep my money. I'm like, what a coincidence. Same here. I want to be left the fuck alone, and I want the tax man to fuck off. Like, yeah, same here. You will get an opinion out of somebody if you pull it out of them. Like, nobody openly talks about like gay marriage, transgender people, abortion, unless you're actively asking them about it. Most people don't give a shit until they're forced to think about it, which is good and bad at the same time, because sometimes you do need to have those conversations and you need to have those arguments, because for whatever fucking reason, we trust everybody in this country to vote, and they all have an opinion. And if they all have a really shitty opinion, unfortunately, democracy dictates that that shitty opinion is the law of the fucking land. So sometimes you do need to have those conversations just to go like, look, I get you think this is horseshit, but these people are human beings and they deserve to have the same rights as everybody else. And you go, all right, fine. And most people, if you talk to them, they'll just go like, all right, yeah, I agree. But it's media just pushing horse shit on everybody and forcing everybody to think negatively. Whereas if you talk to somebody individually, they couldn't give a fuck about 90% of what's considered to be problems right now. And it's what, like, and again, I've only had a handful of bad experiences on stage where somebody has either come up to me afterwards or during the show has yelled at me for the stuff that I say. And I'm like, if this is as rampant as everybody says it is, I should have complaints every single show. I should have people fucking fighting me every single show because I know my act. I know when I go up there, I'm like, I know this old bitch right here is not going to like anything that I have to say, and I have to say it because it's in my head. So if it were really that bad, it would be way worse than anybody wants to think it is.
Right. Well, when you hear, like, obviously, abortion is the hot topic right now. Because of the Supreme Court decision.
Mm-hmm.
So as a comedian, does that immediately say to you like, oh, I need to write material or I need to comment on this? Or are you just kind of doing your own thing?
I'm doing my own thing. And if the two happen to converge at the same time, that just happens. I can't do like coronavirus. Every fucking comedian had a joke on COVID. And it's like, we've pretty much just run the gamut on what everybody's going to say about it. And it's the same thing with abortion, same thing with Trump. Everybody has something on it because it's the hot topic. Now, I have that shit in my current act because I was doing it well before all of this came up. It's just art imitating life at this point or whatever, however the fucking term goes. I have that shit in my act because I openly talk about getting a vasectomy. And the whole point about it was for years, for like 2 or 3 albums, I joked about how I got a vasectomy and how I'm proud of it and I'm happy with it because I never wanted to fucking make people. And I didn't realize until like a couple of years ago that every time I said I had a vasectomy, like, yeah, I'm telling certain people, like, I don't want to make people and you can go fuck yourself if you do. But it was also coming off as like kind of like an arrogant brag to women because I never got any pushback on getting a vasectomy. My doctor's just like, cool, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But women get pushback all the fucking time with their bodies. And I kind of looked at myself and went, all right, what's going on? Like, why am I bragging about this? What do women have to deal with? And I talk about that in my act, and I don't get fucking preachy with it either. It's all jokes the entire time. I don't go, it's like, guys, we really need to think about what women are going through. It's like, yeah, that's there, but not in that shitty fucking Saturday Night Live tone.
That lecture sort of tone.
Yeah, I'm not going to lecture anybody. It is all jokes throughout my act, and I make fun of what women have to deal with. And I don't mean I'm making fun of their situation. I'm just pointing out how fucking absurd it is that like a woman can go into a doctor's office and go, I'd like to never make people. And a doctor's like, yeah, I don't know. That's you're in your 30s. That's like a 45-year-old decision, which is just a really creepy way of saying you got some good breeding years ahead of you.
Right.
Because they can do almost anything else they want. Like if a woman wants to make herself more attractive, nobody fucking bats an eye at that. They're just like, I want to get bigger tits. We'll do that shit tomorrow. I want to get my ass shaped tomorrow. Can I get piercings in my face? Fucking absolutely you can. Can I get whore tattooed across my pelvis? Fuck yeah, you can. As soon as they go into a doctor's office with all of that shit though, and they go, I'd like to never make people, they go, that's a really big decision you might want to think about there, sweetheart. And you're like, really? That's the big fucking decision she needs to think about? It's horseshit. And I don't get why they actively put up with it. Like, it's amazing that women aren't murdering men every single day. Like, that's crazy to me. So that's the shit I cover in my act. I never pull any punches. I never try to be soft. I am me 100%. I am vulgar. I am blunt. And that's the only way I can do it. So you'll never hear me just like, come on, now let's think about this. There will always be a joke. If you think I'm going somewhere really nice, I'm not. There is always a fucking joke somewhere that is going to make you regret being on board with what I just said.
Well, a lot of it is just, as you said, it's in the presentation of it.
Yes.
It's in the way that you put it out there, because you do get, the other thing you get thrown around besides cancel culture all the time is you hear woke,
Mhm.
woke, which is another completely stupid, useless, overused term.
By white liberals
Yes.
who don't consult minorities on anything that they plan on.
And, that bit could, if done the wrong way,
Yeah.
people would say, oh yeah, that's woke. That's woke.
Yeah.
But if you put it the way that you put it, then it's actually funny and
Right.
still getting the exact same point
Yes.
across, but doing it in a way that, comedians should do it,
Mhm.
and not in that stupid kind of lecturing sort of tone.
Yeah, no, I hate that. It's clapter is the term for it, where you just go you're like, who the fuck wants to hear that? I didn't come to a comedy show to agree with you. I came to a comedy show to laugh. And if I happen to agree with what you're saying, I think that's the beauty of what Carlin did. Carlin said, for whatever term, Carlin said all the right things. He said them in a very fucked up way, but he
Right.
said all the right things. And if you listen to what he said underneath, you're like, okay, that is a fantastic point, and it's all disguised by jokes. Doug Stanhope is the same thing. Doug Stanhope will say horrendously horrible shit, but if you actually listen to what he says, there is a point underneath everything that he says, but it's disguised by jokes. To me, that's what comedy should be. Like, yeah, you can have a message, but it has to be funny. I don't want to go in there and not fucking laugh. I want to be able to hear something and go, that's really funny, and then go, oh shit, that's an amazing point he made though, or they made. Like, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to fucking come to your soapbox. It's unnecessary. There are corners and homeless people that'll do that shit every day. Go do it with them. Hang out with them. I don't care. If it's not funny, I don't want to hear it. And again, and that's why we have the world that we have. If that is something that you want to hear, go out and watch that shit. But for me, if I come there and you say it's a comedy show, and at no point did you tell any like real jokes, I'm gonna be really goddamn angry.
Well, I was, you brought up Carlin, and I just rewatched the 2-part Carlin documentary
Mhm.
that HBO Max
Brilliant.
did. It's so good. Yeah. And what really, like, I didn't know about the period where he was kind of looked at as like hack for a while.
Yeah.
Where, he wasn't as popular anymore and stuff. And that's kind of like where like part 1 kind of ends and then part 2 picks up, and it's like, well, here was this big comeback and all that kind of stuff. Cause that's when I got into him in like the 90s.
Yeah.
When, he was doing literally his best work,
Mhm.
Jamming in New York and You Were All Diseased and Doing It Again and all those.
Yeah.
And what really struck me this time around was like, really, he was doing his best work later in life.
Absolutely.
Like, as a comedian, it's amazing that, like, what if his career actually ended? Like, what if he listened to all of the critics? Like, they were showing some of the bad reviews he got.
Right.
There were other like comedians taking shots at him and
Mhm.
stuff, like, saying he's a hack and he's not relevant anymore and stuff like that. Like, imagine if he just went and like fucking, blew his brains out, or
Right.
like just overdosed. I mean, the guy was on, was doing coke for how many
Yeah.
years? Like,
He's doing an insane amount of coke.
yeah, it's shocking that he lived as long as he did.
Yeah.
And like, it really made me think, like, shit, like, imagine if that guy gave up at any point.
Yeah.
We would just be denied so much great comedy. Like,
Absolutely.
that drives me crazy to think about. But like, as you kind of continue to put out, new material, are you constantly trying to get to that next level or challenge yourself in a way that maybe you haven't before?
Yeah, I always want to challenge myself. I mean, the biggest challenge initially is after I do an album, all that material is gone. I don't do that anymore. Now I have to come up with a new hour of material, which is a terrifying thing to think about, because
Yeah.
every time when I'm getting close, I'm like, okay, I know this is going to be an album. Fuck, what am I going to do next? Because I don't know. And then usually within like a month or so before I film or record, I start doing newer stuff just to like get ready for when I don't have, shit anymore. I'm like, okay, the stuff that I'm doing right now is pretty good. All right, I know how to do this. I can do that. That initially, that's the biggest fear is, am I going to be able to do this again? And I've done it 4 times previously. I'm about to do a 5th one. And I'm like, can I do a 6th? And I'm like, I think I can do a 6th. So, and then it's a matter of, okay, what things are you going to do differently? What's going to crop up in your head that's going to make you interested in whatever you're going to do next? What point are you going to try and make? What's going to be like your big piece in your act that you're going to cover? And I never know what it's going to be. It just kind of morphs into something as I'm working out shit. And it's like, do I want to do more stories? Do I want to do an act out somewhere? Do I want to have like a bit where I'm proving something? So I never know what it's going to be, but every time for me that I do something new, I can look back at my old stuff and go, okay, this is better than what I was doing. And if it's not, I need to figure out why what I'm doing isn't as good as what I was just doing. Because you should always keep moving forward and progressing and getting better, because as you do this longer, your mind gets sharper. You notice something funny quicker than you did before, or you're going to start noticing angles that you didn't see before. And as you get older and you progress through life, you start having different opinions on things than you did previously, or things just happen in your life that didn't happen to you before. So now you have a perspective on it. So all of those things come together and they just end up forming whatever it is the next, show, the next act is going to be. And I never tried to hide from those things either. If something's happening in my life, I look at it and I go, what the fuck is going on here? And then I start going, okay, now what's funny about this? Which is kind of like a positive and a negative, because like as something bad is happening to me, like, and that's some of the funniest shit. When something bad happens to you, I'm like, all right, what is funny about this though? And I'm around normal people. Like my girlfriend is, for the most part, she's kind of fucked up, but she's far more normal than I am. So when something's happening in our life and I'm like, oh, you know what's really crazy about it? I don't want to fucking hear it right now. Like, no, but this is really funny. This is a great point. Just like, I don't want to hear any of this. You're like, for me, the funniest thing to me in our relationship is I'm on the road all the time. Sometimes I'm flying, sometimes I'm driving somewhere. And usually for a while, my problem driving was I would get like sleepy when I drive. And then there would be moments where like I'd close my eyes and I'd wake up and I'm like, 20 miles just disappeared really fast. She's like, I don't want to hear that because I don't want to think about you dying. That is my biggest fear, is you dying on the road. And I'm like, okay, well, what about this though? Because that's funny to me. So those are things that I deal with. And those are things that like go into my act of, okay, I never look at anything of like, where's a line that I'm not supposed to cross? It's like the guys of South Park said, like, we're not deliberately offensive. We're just offensive people. And we just happen to do offensive things. So that's me. I don't deliberately try to be offensive or say anything mean or fucked up. That's just who I am. Fortunately or unfortunately, that's the shit that's in my head. That's the way that I look at the world. And the older I get, the more cynical I get. I still have hope for me in my personal life, but everything else can go fuck itself. I don't care. So, and that's my view of the world right now. And that's whatever is coming next, that's what's going to happen. And I've embraced friendships more than I ever had before. I tell my friends that I love them and that I care about them, and I mean it. So because of that, I have richer relationships with people now. And because of that, I have richer stories to tell, because I'm hanging out with these people. I see things that are happening in their lives. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to tell everybody about this thing. That was interesting. So, and that's where it goes from there. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but it has to be better than what I produced last. It doesn't have to top it, but it has to be something more than what I did. I want people to be able to leave who have heard me before and go, I really like the last stuff that you did. What you did here tonight was either just as good or better. Because that's, plateauing here, plateauing may be bad, but if you're doing it up here, it's a pretty good fucking plateau. If you're doing it down here and you plateaued, you fucked up somewhere. So I try to be like, for me, I think I'm in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
So if I can go a little bit higher, awesome. If I can just stay here, I'm happy with what I'm doing, because I know a lot of people aren't doing it. And I don't mean just like traveling. All comics are traveling all the time, but I hear it from people in audiences when I do the shit that I do, that they're like, we haven't heard that point of view. We haven't heard that opinion. We haven't heard this joke yet. So I'm going to keep doing that and just listening to everybody, never taking anything from anybody, but also going, all right, that's what they're doing. I got something different. I know I have a different opinion on this. I know I have a different joke for this. Let's just keep going down that path. And it's done me well, but hopefully it does me better in the end.
So when you're putting together what you would consider an album or a special or however you want to word it, are you thinking about a structure to that? Are you thinking about themes in particular, or are you just kind of trying to take a snapshot of kind of where you're at that time?
It just kind of happens. Whenever something catches me in the right way, I will write it down, and then I immediately take it to the stage. And then if it works there, then I bring it with me, like on the road, and then I try to perfect it. And it's, for me, there's no order to anything except for something that's in my head. Like, I know how it should be ordered as I'm listening to it and as I'm doing the material. When I come up with whatever my closer ends up being, I know that's my closer. That's the perfect thing to end this on. And I don't work backwards. I just know that's my closer. That's where that goes. And then I know where stuff will fit in the middle eventually as I'm working out material. And then the hardest thing is coming up with an opening joke, how to get everybody on board. And for me, I want to get right into it. I want to get them laughing. I want to get them knowing that I'm funny right up front. I don't want to, hey, how's everybody doing? How are you today, sir? Hey, I don't fucking hate that. I want to get right into my act. So figuring out an opening joke has always been the hardest thing. And a lot of the time, they will just come out of nowhere. Like, I'll just throw something up front and they're just like, holy shit, that worked out really well. And then I start thinking in my head, I'm like, what does that do with everything else in my act? Does that fit here? No. All right, that can go up front.
Okay.
And then as I'm working out the material, I just start noticing places where different jokes can go into place. Like, because you should always just keep putting as many jokes in, for me, put as many jokes in the act as possible. And then the more jokes that you put in, the richer the act gets, the longer the act gets, obviously. But then also, for me, I start noticing little spaces where, like, oh, I could do a callback here. Or, oh, this chunk right here would actually work really well if I put it right here before this bit. And then this bit will make more sense, and this will follow into the next thing, which will follow into the next thing. And then it's all just a matter of like figuring out where your transitions go and how one bit will follow into the next one. If not thematically, just verbally, like as a roller coaster in a way. Like how, like I brought him up here, this bit will take him down a little bit. It'll bring him back up here, but it's got to start down here. And that's what's really fun. Mike Peters has told me before, he loves watching me on stage because I will really piss off an audience and then I will get them back on my side immediately. And he's just like, I don't see people doing that. And it's really fun to watch because it's fun to watch you dig yourself out of a hole. And it is. It's really exciting just to have people go, oh, we didn't care for that. And in the back of my head, I know, well, I'm about to get you with this next one. You have no idea I'm about to do it. And that's what's fun about it. So yeah, for me, it takes about 2.5 years to put like an album or an hour together, because it just starts off with all of this shit over here that I've been writing, that I've been playing around with. And then I go, okay, let's try to set up an order for it. And then I'll go on the road and I'll start off with that order. And then I just start noticing while doing the act more and more, all right, these things need to be moved around a bit. And then that's just what happens. I wish it were more technical, but for me, it's just all in my fucking head. It's just all up there. I know when something sounds right. I know when something is where it needs to be in the act appropriately. And I just know when everything is right, exactly where it needs to be before I start hating it. Like, that's why I'm doing the one, because it's available. And then two, because I'm enjoying it a lot, but I feel the hatred of the act coming on, where I'm just getting annoyed with it, or I'm just getting tired of doing these jokes. Like, all right, this idea is great. I want to move on to this idea.
Right. So you are on the road quite a bit, and how did that? How did you get into that? I would assume that there's going to be people watching here who are interested in, like, how do you make a living doing this? How do you make a living going around telling jokes? So, like, how did that work out for you? Like, in terms of going around, I think people think, when they think comedians, they think of your Netflix comedians, or your big guy, like Bill Burr was just in the area, like that sort of thing. And they understand that structure of it, especially because these guys have podcasts.
Yep.
Where they go hours and hours and hours talking about this kind of stuff. But I don't think that people understand how other comedians do it. So, like, how did it work for you?
So when I started, it was just all local stuff. Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Bethlehem, Allentown. And then a couple of times we would go up to like New York City to try out a mic or something. But if you're not in that scene, they don't give a shit about you, which is understandable. There's millions of people in that city, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that want to be comedians. They have no reason to care about some fucker that came in 2 hours from Scranton. Who gives a shit? Are you living here? No, go fuck yourself. We don't care. We're not going to book you for a show because you have to drive 2 hours out here. Who the hell knows what's going to happen?
Right.
So I started here, and then I got very lucky early on. Like 3 or 4 years in, I did a competition in New York for an agency, and they liked what I did, and they put me on their roster. And I was able to do the road from there. And when I was getting on the road as much as I could, I still had to maintain a day job, just because it wasn't paying as much as it needed to, but it was still paying, which was great. And I was able to get out to different parts of the country that I didn't know about, or that didn't know me, obviously. And it made me a better comic, because you have to be able to perform for people that aren't your friends, that already know you. You have to perform for real strangers who don't give a shit that, they worked with you or something like that. They want to see if you're funny. So that benefited me. And because of that, and also I tried to make a reputation for myself as just be as good as you possibly can. And whenever I went to open mics that weren't like local, I would always do my best stuff in front of new people. Because if you go to an open mic and it's not in your like hometown and you dick around, those new people aren't going to give a shit about you, because they're going to go, oh, it's just some other guy that doesn't know how to do comedy. But if you go in there and you wow them, they're going to go, oh, wow, that's a different person. They're going to talk to you afterwards. They're going to go, where are you from? You're like, I'm from this area. And they go, well, we had a show coming up. Do you want to be on our next show? And you go, yeah. That's usually how you can grassroots it.
Okay.
Is go out to different areas where people don't know you and do your best stuff and wow everybody there. And then once you've earned their trust, then you can go back to those areas and fuck around and work stuff out, because they know that you're funny and you're working things out. You have to earn their trust before you can, throw it all the way, basically. So that's what I was also doing. I was going out to all these different areas, East Coast wise, to let people know that I'm funny. And then I was also doing the road with my agency. And then doing the road, I met a bunch of other comics on the road, and they took notice that I was funny. And because of that, I'm able to contact them and go, hey, are there any like little things going on that I can jump on if I'm out that way? And they go, yeah, absolutely. And then because I was able to build up multiple hours and albums, I'm able to send that out now to different areas that are doing like comedy nights, and go, hey, look, I have all these albums. I've done this. I can headline at your venue. Here are my references for other people that you may know. And they'll go, oh, okay, yeah. And they'll bring me out if they can. And that's how I'm able to do the road now. I don't work with the agency that I used to work with anymore. Just a mutual split. We just don't work with each other anymore. I got nothing bad to say about them. Everything's cool. We just don't work together anymore. But I have made good connections. That's another thing. Networking. They tell you that in like every comedy class. They're not lying. Network. Talk to people after shows. Talk to the venue owner, whoever put the show together. Talk to them, and go out to different mics because those people are going to know about the little shows that are going on in the area, and just make sure you're getting your best stuff together on tape and send it out to places. And Facebook and the internet, you can network with anybody now and just go, hey, look, here's a 5-minute video of me. I'm going to be out this way. Does anybody have a show that I can hop on? And you do that. And the first time you may not make money, but the second time you go out there, if you impress them, you will, because they saw like, oh, wow, this person's funny and we can bring them out and they're a benefit to our show. Always be a benefit to anything that anybody is doing. Either just be super funny. If you can't be funny, be super nice. Don't cause fucking problems, because people will remember that even more than you being funny.
Right.
There's a lot of not funny people that get stuff just because they were nice to work with. It's great. So just that's all you can do is just network, get out there whenever you can, be nice to people, and just, sometimes just fish, just throw a thing out there and go, hey, I want to put on a comedy night out here. Are you interested? And then don't fuck it up. If you're producing your own shows, which I have done, you better make sure that from top to bottom, that is an excellent show. Because if it's not, one, you just fucked over a venue who thought they could trust you. And then all of those people that you brought in that gave you their goodwill and thought that they could trust you and that you were going to provide them with a good show and you didn't, well, you just fucked whoever's going to come through there next, because they're going to go, well, we saw comedy here before and it wasn't good, and I don't want to waste my money again. Like, you always have to be giving the best that you possibly can be. If you have friends that are, comedians and they're starting out, do not give them time on your show just because they're your friend. They need to be funny. They need to be very good at what they're doing, because it's a business at the end of the day. Yes, this is all art and we're, trying to be our best selves, but it's still a business. If you want to make money, you got to put on the best show imaginable. And if that means that one of your friends doesn't get to be on the show because they're not good, then they don't get to be on the show. That should encourage them to get better. That's another thing. Look at the people that are better than you and work towards being as good or better than them. That's the only thing you should be focusing on, is getting better and funnier, because the funnier you are, the more people are going to work with you. The more people are going to want to work with you. The more your reputation is going to get out there and people are going to want to work with you and give you a shot. That's the best thing. Just small moves. And then if you get lucky, fucking take advantage of it. Just run with it as long as you can. There are tons of agencies out there that you can submit your stuff to. Some of them will get back to you. Some of them won't. Email them, send them your best stuff possible. And if they like you, they'll bring you on. You may be a host for a while, but if you can prove that you're really good, you can work up to feature, you can work up to headliner. Just never stop working. Keep pushing forward. That's the only positive thing I'm going to fucking say. Just keep working your ass off. It'll work out eventually. There's so many people that just quit, and because they quit, they allowed somebody else to move up in front of them. So just stick with it. Just stick with it and be funny. I cannot fucking stress that enough. If people aren't laughing, you're not funny. You need to fix what the fuck you're doing, because that's what they're going to remember at the end of the day. If you don't hear people laughing, don't get off stage and wait for your friends to go, that was a really good set, because they're fucking lying to your face. Do not do that shit.
You speak like you've maybe seen this once or twice before.
Well, it's everywhere. Like, that's the thing too that traveling has taught me, is that everybody has a comedy scene, and every comedy scene has their group of people that just circle jerk each other all the time. And they're just like, that was really funny. You're like, nobody laughed. They don't get it. Like, no, that's not the way this works. You get to blame the audience 1% of the time. And that's after you have like a bulletproof act that kills everywhere. And if they're not laughing, there's probably something wrong with them. Like, if you're still like grinding, like if they didn't laugh, you did something wrong. Figure out what it was and fix it. Like, you're never going to get better. You're never going to get booked if you just keep doing the bare minimum, or you keep fucking around and not trying to get better. It sucks. It takes a lot of like courage to tell yourself, that you suck and really analyze what you're doing and go, all right, that wasn't good. Like, I don't like listening to myself at all. I hate it, but I record every set and I watch it and I go, okay, they didn't laugh here. Why didn't they laugh? And now I have to put myself in the audience head and go, what should I have done to get the reaction that I needed out of them? Okay, they didn't laugh here because this may have been too crass to say. How else can I say it? How else can I reword this? It's a lot of editing and work. Like, we make it look like it's really easy on stage, but the behind the scenes shit is a nightmare. And it's just a shitload of work that I've seen a lot of people not wanting to do. And that's fine. You don't have to, but don't bitch when you're not getting the things that you want either.
Right.
It's a two-way, it's just not the way that it works.
So you've gotten to travel a lot.
Mhm.
Do you get to kind of take in these cities at all, or are you just kind of, like when I talked to a University Drive a month or two back, they had said, yeah, it was cool to travel, but we didn't get to see shit because we're just setting up, doing the
Yep.
show, and then we're on the road. Is it kind of the same for you?
Sometimes, if I'm in a place for a weekend, I'll usually, so if it's a Friday, Saturday show in the same place, I will show up an hour and a half before the show on Friday. I'll do the shows Friday. I'll go sleep in my hotel or somebody's couch, whatever. And then Saturday, I have the whole day to myself. So I get to look at whatever place I'm in and enjoy it. Most of the time, I'm doing a lot of one-nighters. So when I'm doing a tour on the road, it's, all right, get here for this show, and then I'm either going to stay at a hotel, wake up early and drive, or I'm going to drive from this show halfway to the next show, sleep, wake up the next day, get to the next show, and continue that on. Last summer, when I was doing like the 2 months straight tour, a lot of it was do a show, drive 5 hours, sleep, drive 15 hours to the next show, do that show, sleep, on and on and on and on and on. We rarely got to see any like places at all. The only benefit of it though was we were doing a lot of West Coast shows, which is one of the most beautiful areas to drive around in. Just seeing like the mountains and waterfalls of Oregon and Washington. There's some really beautiful places in Idaho. Nevada is really cool to drive through. Utah is beautiful. That was really cool. Colorado's gorgeous. If you can ever just drive through Colorado, do it. Don't even fucking stop there. Just view how beautiful it is to drive through it. That's really cool. That was an enjoyable aspect of it, but very rarely do I ever get to like just enjoy a place that I'm in. If I get there early enough, maybe I can stop and see their local Walmart or a mall. But other than that, no, I don't get to really enjoy where I'm at. So it sucks, but it's like that's the road. That's the way it is.
But do you get an impression of the people at all from doing these shows, or like, hanging out maybe a little bit before everything gets going? Or
I get an initial impression of like, you just kind of create your own stereotypes in your head of every state that you're in.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, these people are going to be hicks or they're going to be idiots. And then I'm usually pleasantly surprised. Because I mean, again, like we said earlier, like everybody not everybody is the same, but most comedy audiences, they're just coming out because they want to laugh. And they're coming to a comedy show and they've accepted the fact that if they don't do their research up front, they just have to be prepared to hear things that they're normally not used to hearing, or they're going to hear something that perhaps they don't like. So 95% of the time, everything is just smooth. It's fine. There's no issues. 5% of the time, sometimes I'm like, I can judge an audience and I'm very, very right about it when I get on stage, and it's something of a bummer, but I'm usually not surprised by anything in the sense that like, oh shit, I didn't think they were going to take it that way.
Right. How many years have you been doing this now?
14.
Wow. And do you feel like you're at a comfortable spot yet, or do you need to get to another level, or where do you feel you're at?
I'm okay right now. I'm not where I want to be. Where I want to be is just where I can say I'm playing at a place and I don't have to worry about whether or not tickets are going to sell.
Okay.
That's the next step for me. I don't care about fame. I don't care about everybody knowing who I am. I just care about enough people knowing who I am so that I don't have to be concerned about shit. Where I'm on Eventbrite and I'm just like, only 10 have been sold. Like, I can't pay a bill with 10 tickets sold already. And then 10 minutes before the show, 30 tickets sell. And you're like, where the fuck were you people all week? So if I can get to a point where I don't have to do that, I will be very, very happy and just sustain. And I don't need a lot of money to be happy. My girlfriend and I live pretty simple lives. That's it. I just need a little bit. I don't need a whole lot. I know exactly where I want to be happy. If I get anything above that, that's cool. So that's really the trajectory that I'm on right now. I just want to get to where everything is comfortable and cool and I don't have to worry. And then I can just have more fun. But at the same time, when you have to worry and you are struggling, that's sometimes where your best shit comes from, because you need to be really good to justify getting to where you want to be, if that makes any sense.
So, being around the country all the time, do you are there any particular stories of the last couple of years that stick out in your mind? Something a show that went well or did not go well, or something fun that you might tell your friends when you get back?
There's a few. So there's on Valentine's Day, we did a show in Carbondale, and I ate my fucking balls. It was a bad show. These people were there for a Valentine's Day show, and I am not a Valentine's Day comedian.
No, you are not.
And I was hosted, and I went up second, and I had Paul headline. And even Paul's incredibly funny, and even he was struggling with this audience. They just did not want to be there. And I had done one joke that they just took away that they just didn't need to. And they just hated me from that point on. And the rest of my act was just me digging myself out of this hole. And it sucked. There's a show in Owings, Maryland that I did where, again, I got on stage, my first joke, they were just like, meh, they didn't give a fuck. And it was just 45 minutes of me just sweating the entire time. It was awful. And then there's another one in Appalachian, some shit part of New York that I did. And it's one of those audiences that you're just like, all right, this is probably a dumb audience. I'm going to do my just lowest common denominator material. I do it, and there's still, and this lady had said something at the beginning of my act. I was like, you're going to shut your fucking mouth and you're not going to interrupt anybody. You did everybody else today. You're not going to interrupt me. And she walked outside, and then with 10 minutes left in my set, she comes back in. She's like, you're going to apologize to me now, right? I go, fuck no, I'm not. You're an asshole. And one of the comics was recording without my permission and recorded this interaction. And she's on the lip of the stage yelling at me, just going, say it. And I kept calling her an asshole. What she wanted me to do was to call her a cunt so she'd have a justifiable reason to hit me. And I've been doing this long enough that I can see that in her shitty cunty eyes that she wanted me to do that. And I'm saying that now because she's not going to hit me here. And on the video, you can see I'm just going, you're an asshole. And she tries to swipe the mic out of my hand and fails at it. And then the manager that day at the venue just goes, all right, show's over. Didn't kick her out, just ended the show. But those are bad experiences. Then there's the weird being on the road experiences. Over the, I think November and December, somewhere in there, I was in Colorado, Wyoming, North Dakota, and then Washington. And the way that I had to do it was, and these were all, two of them were office holiday parties. Two of them were just regular shows. And office holiday parties suck because it's a corporate office party. And they're like, we think comedy would be a great idea. So the first one was in Wyoming, but I flew out to Denver and then drove from Denver to the area in Wyoming because it was cheaper to do it that way than to fly to where I had to be in Wyoming. Oh, this comedy fucking sucks. that show wasn't bad. It was actually a lot of fun. The people really enjoyed me. And then I drove back to Denver that night. And then I had to turn in my rental car and stay in Denver for like 4 days in this really shitty hotel that I didn't leave at all, because when I came back from Wyoming, my door was open. I was like, did somebody come in my room? So I never left because I'm like, I'm not letting anybody in my room. So I would just go to the gas station that was across the street and I would get a Cinnabon and a pizza every day for dinner. That's what I would eat. And then the next gig was I did 2 gigs in North Dakota. And the first one was insane. It was another holiday party, but I was trying to find a hotel out that way, and there weren't any in this particular part of North Dakota. And I found this like college or something that just like rented rooms out to people. And I go there and I walk in. The place is like The fucking Shining. It's just long, empty hallways. There's nobody there. There's a front desk with a bell that nobody's answering. And then I just hear this dog barking like far away. And I'm just looking for something. And out of nowhere, this like grungy, fucking dirty old man comes up to me. He's got a white beard. He's got dirt all over his face. His fingers are like stained from smoking cigarettes all the time. And he's smoking a cigarette in front of me. He's like, "What are you doing here?" I go, I went on Expedia and I got a room here. And I can't find anybody at the front desk. He goes, "Yeah, there's nobody here right now." I'm like, "Okay, well, I need a room." He's like, "Well, follow me." So I follow him. He punches in the code for this room. I walk into it and he's like, "You can stay here if you need to." I go, "Okay, cool. Thank you." And I go, "I need to go get my stuff out of my car." He's like, "Well, I'll be here all night." And he goes, "That's my room over there." And it's this room with a big POW flag inside of it. And there's garbage everywhere. And he's like, "That's my room. And just so you know, I know the code to your room too." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not fucking staying here." And then he's like, "But what are you doing here anyways?" I go, "I'm here on work." And he's like, "What's your work?" And for I'm like, "I'm a comedian." And his fucking eyes light up. And he's like, "I love comedians." And he sparks up another cigarette and he goes, "You're not supposed to smoke in here." And he's like, what's it like being a comedian? I go, I need to get my bag and change because I have to get to my show immediately. He's like, "All right, well, I'll be here all night if you want to talk." And he's got just a bottle of something and he's just slowly swigging it. And I walk out, I come back in, I walk into the room, I shut the door, I put a chair up against the fucking door, I change my clothes. I'm like, I will sleep in my car tonight. I am not staying here. As I'm walking out now, I'm looking for him. He is passed out in the hallway and the dog that I heard is just humping his leg. So I go to the show. It's another office holiday party. The rental car that I got is like this shitty little compact car, and it just snowed like heavy in this area, which is a really bad fucking thing to have a compact car. So I'm trying to get to the venue, which is on top of this hill, and I just drive into what I assume is their driveway, but it's just a big fucking field of snow, and I get my car stuck in the snow. And I'm not used to getting it out. So I'm just, shit. So I walk into the restaurant and I go, "Hey, I'm the comic for tonight. I got my car stuck in the snow. Can you guys help me get this out of here?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." So 4 people from the bar come out. They help me push my car out. I'm like, okay, that was the shittiest thing that happened tonight. I go in, the office party, they rented out this restaurant. So it's just their office in there. And, they had a party bus bring them to this venue. And I'm in the back of the room with the party bus guy. And he's just like, "So you're a comedian, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How's your day been going?" I'm like, "I just talked to somebody that was probably going to rape me if I fucking stayed where I was going to stay." He's like, "Well, that's interesting." And then the woman that booked me comes over and goes, "Hey, we're going to finish up dinner. And then we're going to do like a little award ceremony. And then you can come up and you can do your act." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. Whatever." So I'm talking with the bus driver and in the middle of their dinner, somebody falls over and they push all the tables out of the way. They start giving this person CPR, telling them, stay with us, look at me, talk to me, talk to me. They're giving them CPR and they fucking died
No.
on the floor in the restaurant.
Holy shit.
An ambulance comes, they take the body away. And the woman that set all of this up comes up to me and she goes, that was pretty crazy. I go, yeah. And she goes, so you're still going to do a show for us, right? And I go, yeah, why the fuck not? We're here. And they go, okay, well, we're going to try to get everybody like corralled and calmed down. And then when we're done with that, you can do your act. I go, great.
Wow.
And the entire day, like my belt felt weird. I have one of those reversible belts. And before I go on stage, I just try to adjust it and my fucking belt broke. So as soon as I get on stage, I go, you know, of everything that happened right now, my belt just broke. That is the worst thing that's happened to anybody today. And it broke the tension and I was able to do my act in front of them and they fucking loved it. They tipped me money because, like, first of all, they're like, we have to give you extra money for this just because, but also what you did was great.
Damn.
That's probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me is to watch somebody die and they're like, so you're still gonna do the show, right? Like, yeah, why wouldn't I fucking do that to you? Like, even I'm like, that's some little much, isn't it? Like, don't you guys want to like
go home and process this?
Yeah.
Maybe?
I mean, you're gonna have a great story to tell on Monday that nobody's gonna be able to top, but
right.
still. Yeah, the road is insane, but I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Of all the shows to go well, too. That's amazing.
Yeah. And all the shows that weekend or that week, whatever the hell it was, went great. I was in another part of North Dakota, Williston, North Dakota, I think. It was like an oil rig group of people. And I was like, my act's not going to fly here, but it did. They were great. I brought merch with me. They bought all of my merch. Like, it's fantastic. It's a crazy, for me anyways, it's crazy where my act works, because I've always thought like I probably only appeal to like liberal minded people, and it's not true. Like, I appeal to almost everybody in every different age range too. Like, that's weird when I have like 70 and 80-year-olds coming up to me. They're like, that was really funny. I'm like, you thought it was funny? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool, we're gonna run with that.
You know, and that kind of goes back to what we were saying before of, you know, people kind of have a narrative kind of set in their mind that's kind of repeated through, you know, your news stories and even your movies, your TV shows, your things like that, your stereotypes of people of just, oh, that's how they act and that's how they are and that's just the way it is, and you just kind of have to accept that and deal with it. And it's like, well, not really. You know, there really are multifaceted people out there, you know, like, and they're all over. It's not just, you know, a state by state sort of thing where you can just dismiss an entire area or group of people.
Yeah.
So coming back to Wilkes-Barre, have you done a local show in a while?
Not in a while, no. I think the last one I did was probably a year ago, and that was in Oliphant. I don't think I've done anything significant here. If I'm wrong, somebody will correct me, I'm sure, but I don't believe that I've done anything like big where I'm like just showing everybody what I've been working on. I think I did something at the cigar bar a few months ago, but I was only doing like 15, 20 minutes on that. Like, nothing where I'm like really displaying everything I've been working on. But yeah, what I'm doing now, that's why I also haven't been doing anything local, because I want to make sure everybody that wants to see me doesn't just, you know, see me and go, oh, we saw it, and walk away. I want everybody to come out to what I'm doing. So no, I haven't been in the scene. I haven't been in this area for at least a year, definitely, I don't think.
Okay. So what made you go with Karl Hall for this show?
It's a great venue for comedy. It's compact, low ceilings, dark, holds sound really well. It's a perfect comedy venue. It's a great place for bands as well, from what I've seen, but for comedy, it's just perfect. There's stage is like only like that big. You don't have to be like super above everybody. Yeah, small room. It's just a great fucking comedy room. I remember when you were covering it when it first opened.
Mhm.
I was like, that would be a great place for a show. And I had never been able to get down there. And then when Mike Peters and Paul were putting together shows, I went to their first one and I looked, I was like, this is a perfect fucking place for comedy. It's excellent. And I mean, we have Wisecrackers, which is a great place, but that's a big room.
Right.
And it is great for comedy because Scott, Bruce, and Nick have put it all together, and they know what how comedy works and how to make it work in places like that. But for me, Karl Hall is a perfect venue for comedy. It's just an excellent space. It's a downstairs venue. It's not going to be interrupted by anybody. You're not interrupting anybody else's good time. Like if you're doing it at a restaurant and you're doing it in one of their back rooms, you have the issue,
right.
or some bars. No, for me, it's just the perfect place to do comedy. I couldn't think of anything better than that.
And for this one, now your previous albums are all audio, right?
Yes, they're all audio.
So you're going to do a video this time as well, in addition to the audio?
I think this one just is going to be video. I don't know if audio is coming out or not. I haven't really discussed that with the production company that I'm working with. But for right now, yeah, it's just going to be a special or video because I've never did one like that. And that seems to be what everybody's gravitating towards right now is video, because they want to see you do what you're doing. They want to see what everybody else is seeing when they come to a live show. So there was a company, 4x3 Productions. They were telling people, like, if you have an hour that you want to do, let us know. And I got in contact with them, and they've been great so far. And I was like, yeah, I want to do a special this time because I love the material that I'm doing. I've been doing it for like 2 years straight, and it's as good as it's gonna be. And it's really fucking good. I've done it everywhere, and it's really fucking funny. And I'm proud of it in a way that I haven't been proud of my other hours. Because like this one, so other hours when I would do them, when I would do the album, there would be jokes in that album that I knew I couldn't get away with on the road. So I just put those specifically in the album recording because I knew the audience that was there for me was going to laugh at some really fucked up stuff. Now, everything that I'm doing here, I have done on the road. I have no fear of anything not working. I have said everything that I'll be doing in this special, I have done on the road everywhere, and it's gotten positive reactions from it. So nothing on here is going to be on here as like a cheat where I know people are going to laugh at it here. So I'll just do this. Everything that I'm doing, I have done everywhere, and it's dark and it's fucked up and people have loved it. So I'm very, very proud of this one. And I want to make sure I can, immortalize it in some way where you can functionally see what I do very well.
And it's two different shows.
2 shows, a 7 p.m. and a 9 p.m. They film both of them, and then they, splice them together and make them look nice. So I have to wear the same thing 2 times in a row. But yeah, it'll be 7 p.m., 9 p.m. It'll be at Karl Hall, and I'm looking forward to it. It's scary in a way because I want to make sure people are going to be there so that it looks nice.
Right.
And then also, again, when it's done and it's out, those jokes go bye-bye. I can't do them anymore. So now I got to start coming up with new shit and be conscious of what I've said before and not try to tread in the same area. Or if I am going to, I have to have something different to say about it.
So not to give too many spoilers to those who are going to go, but what kind of subjects are we talking about in this hour?
I talk about the stuff I said earlier about getting a vasectomy and the bullshit that women have to deal with. I have a big the chunk in this one is about how much I don't care for white liberal people and the bullshit that they spew. And it's not like an anti-woke cancel culture thing. This is what I notice what they do and what I don't like about it. And then it also goes into the things that I think should be fixed with politics. And again, all jokes, no rants without jokes. A lot of people saw a couple or 3 years ago when I got in a big fight with somebody on Facebook about her having to get an abortion. And I had my own canceled story where I lost a shitload of gigs. People have been asking, where's that story? That's in this act.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great story and it's a lot of fun. And again, I've done it everywhere and I've gotten the approval of everybody. It's a great story. I tell a story about doing a corporate gig in Colorado, which really sucked. I talk about how much I hate the Amish. It's all, the sad thing is, if you ask me to do the act, I can just belch it out, but knowing what it is, I can't. My times when I've gone out to the West Coast, my issues with like how silly the West Coast is. I have some, so is, it's going to be a backtrack in a way, but I do have stuff not on COVID itself, but what I did during COVID. And it's really just a small thing to get me into my act. So I talk about sexuality, being a pervert, what that means in today's society. Yeah, shit that women have to put up with, abortion. I talk heroin. I talk about heroin at one point, which I know everybody loves in this area. So yeah, that's, if I think about it properly, that's all the shit that I cover, and it's just fun. I'm very, very proud of it. I love everything that I'm doing. I've enjoyed doing it and surprising people with where the act goes, and getting laughs in places I know other people aren't getting laughs. At least I don't think they are.
So you've done this a couple of times. This will be your fifth?
Yes, it'll be my fifth album.
So with those previous albums, how do you feel that they, went, and, what were those experiences like as opposed to your regular show?
The first one that I did, I tried to do as a special. I bought 3 cameras with money I didn't really have. I was able to get a date at the Wisecrackers that used to be in Wilkes-Barre. I had, I think, like 100 people come out to see the show. It was just one take. I tried editing it together and burning DVDs, but if you don't have like somebody that's actually doing that shit for you individually as a person, that's a fucking nightmare to deal with.
Right.
So I ended up just ripping the audio from it and just making it a CD or an album. And it's okay. I was 3 years in and I had just an hour of jokes. That's all I had. I just had an hour of material that didn't have any real direction. That was just stuff I was messing around with. That particular album would have been the start of an album on the road, if that makes any sense. Like that's like that album I would have taken on the road. And by the time I was done with like a tour, it would still be that album, but it would be way tighter. It would be way better. It'd just be technically a better album. But I did that and I was just like, whatever, that's that thing. And then I did another one. And the best thing about doing the first one was I had the same fear that I always do, is can I come up with another hour? And I was able to. And at that time I was getting engaged or married, and I was having those experiences happen in my life. And I was talking about those and what it was like to be with a difficult person. And just, again, all my observations about the world and things that I noticed, all the places that I had worked, I brought that into the act. And that one I was more confident in because I was doing that act a lot more. But still, I wasn't on the road and performing as much as I needed to justify doing that as an album. And that one I actually won because I won your competition, and I got the 25/8 Studios to record me. And because you don't do comedy in a studio, I was like, you guys want to record an album? And Marky was like, yeah, we'll do a fucking album. Let's see what happens. So Marky Denenbaum recorded my second album. And that was great. I got good responses to it. And then the third one I did, that was the one where I was actually on the road a lot.
Oh, okay.
So that act was far more polished. It was a lot more fun. I remember feeling far more confident doing that hour when I was shooting. I did 2 shows. I did one down in Lewisburg, and then I did one in Wilkes-Barre, and then I decided that the Wilkes-Barre one was just a little bit better than the Lewisburg one. And that was also the first time that I had recorded multiple shows and picked out which one was the better one, which is what you should be doing. You shouldn't just attempt it in one go and hope for the best.
Right.
But that one worked out great. I really enjoyed that. It has one of my favorite opening jokes. People still ask me to do it. The joke is, I say, people will get offended during my act, and that's fine. But there are also times where people will get so offended in my act that they will want to fight me after the show. So if you want to fight me after the show, please be aware that I always carry sand in my pocket. If you get in my face, I will chuck sand in yours, and I will catch you with a right hook. And this is the Sandy hook technique. And it's devastating because you never saw it coming. And that is one of my favorite opening jokes, because right there it tells you what the rest of the act is going to be. If you can laugh at that, you're going to enjoy the rest of the night.
Right.
And again, for me, that's a perfect opening joke.
Like sets the tone.
Yeah,
right
sets
there.
the tone perfectly.
Even producer Lou loved that one.
And then my 4th album, I wanted to do something different than instead of telling everybody I'm going to record an album here tonight and have everybody there. I was on the road a lot. So I had bought a Zoom recorder, and I learned how to set it up so that I could record through the Zoom and through the mic that I was talking into. And I just, for like a 2-month stretch, I just recorded every show that I did. And then I was in Delaware, Newark, Delaware, at Midnight Oil Brewing, and I had Ellen Doyle with me. It was fucking hilarious.
Oh, she's so funny.
Great comic. She was there with me, and it was just one of those sets where you're just like, everybody got everything. It was just perfect. Some crazy shit had happened the night before at a gig in Virginia, and I just kind of threw it in there, and it just worked really well. And I was like, this is the fucking album. And I'd never done that before. I was like, let's prove for me in my head that this act will work anywhere. And I proved that it could work anywhere. I just did it in random night in Delaware. I'm lucky enough that I recorded it. So that's what my 4th album was. And this one, because it's on video, I can't just make a fucking production company follow me everywhere and just hope that I get the right set.
Right.
So this time it's, all right, this is where it's going to happen. It's 2 shows. They're going to record everything, and then you guys come out and enjoy yourselves. And it's been a fun progression to just see what works and what doesn't work. And I love that. I like doing the specials or the albums because it's like finishing a novel. You're just like, okay, it's over with. I told this story. Now I can move on to other stories. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the next one. Maybe that one will be video as well. If it gets enough attention, hopefully it helps me build a bigger fan base and I can do something in a bigger venue or with like a different streaming platform, or I'll just do another audio. It doesn't matter. I just want to keep coming up with shit, and I just want to keep finding different ways to get it out to people that are also interesting and fun to me.
Will there be anywhere that you know of as of now where it might be streaming after this is recorded?
I think, I don't even know if I'm allowed to discuss it. I'm going to say, I know, I know clips are going to be on YouTube for sure, just to kind of point you in the direction of the place. I just signed the contract. I've been kind of dicking around for like the last couple of months.
Okay.
I think one of the streaming platforms might be Tubi. I don't know for sure though. But it's not Netflix. That's for goddamn sure. They have no interest in me. And it's also not going to be a Dry Bar special. Okay. They have zero interest in me. Netflix just doesn't know who I am. Dry Bar wants fucking nothing to do with me. They are Mormons. And they don't want anything to do with my act.
You know, I did not know there was comedy on Tubi, but I always enjoy there's a good variety of movies on there, so that would be pretty cool actually to get on there.
anything where more people are going to be able to see me than they already would is a benefit to me. So if I can get more people to see me, and that's also just another credit that I can use to get into other clubs and places. I got a thing on a thing, you should bring me here.
Right. Let's see. So we did have a nice positive comment here. True Blue Ryu. It says, "Yo, this guy is a solid comedian. I've been to Mike events with him before."
Oh, nice. Thank you.
So I did not know that you were friends or that Ryu from Street Fighter was doing stand up, but like,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Any haters?
Robin was enjoying your stories. So.
Oh, nice.
All good. Let's see. Tanya says, "I just tuned in and was like, yeah, Zach is talking about getting snipped." So that was much earlier in the evening.
I will continue to brag about that, especially after what SCOTUS did. I am fucking hot on the market now. I can't get you pregnant. I am fucking prime choice right now. And my girlfriend does not like me saying that out loud. She does not care for it.
So you say it on a recorded podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
I don't care.
Yeah.
My jizz is like O'Doul's now. It's just non-alcoholic cum. It's fantastic.
So let me give a quick plug here. Chris says the next 4 people that sign up to merchbooth.com get free designs, so a logo or a logo refresh custom. So fill out that form. So if you are a local artist of any kind, you're a comedian, you're a musician, whatever, make sure you go to merchbooth.com and sign up. We actually had those go very quickly last time we did this, so
nice.
Make sure you do that very soon. And we'll plug that one more time here. Zack Hammond is recording his new comedy album live at Karl Hall in Wilkes-Barre on Friday, July 29th with Paul Spratt and Mike Peters. If you want to see our interview with them, it's just a few weeks ago that we had them on this couch as well, and that was a lot of fun. You could tell those guys do a lot of podcasts. Mm-hmm. So there are 2 shows, one at 7 p.m. and one at 9 p.m. on July 29th. Tickets are only $10 too.
Yeah.
So I recommend, especially if you have a good laugh, that you should be there.
Yeah,
this.
Absolutely.
Because we want one of those like good har like big laughs that really stand out for a recording like this.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're on Facebook, just look up Zack Hammond live at Karl Hall. You'll find tickets on an event right there, or you can go to my website, zackhammond.net. And I bought both domains of ZACK and ZACH because I know people can't fucking spell. So however you spell it, you will be able to find my website, zackhammond.net. Just go to dates. You'll see it at the bottom of the date list right now in Wilkes-Barre. It'll take you right to the Eventbrite link, and you can buy tickets for the 7 or 9 o'clock show.
Excellent. Well, buy those tickets. Come out and be part of a live recording, which is a very rare thing that you don't really get to do, especially around here. I don't know if anybody else is recording comedy albums around here.
No, that's either a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know which one it is.
We're going to find out in just a couple of weeks.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm very excited to be there. And thank you all for tuning in and, checking out this fun episode. I hope that you were highly offended and you hated it and you're never going to come back. I mean, no, I hope that you loved it and everything was great. And,
yeah, love Rich. You can hate me. That's fine. But just love Rich.
But yeah, we appreciate you tuning in. We're here every Wednesday. We also did a bonus episode on Saturday. I don't know if you caught that one or not, but we did an episode on Saturday with Camp Punksylvania, which is a really cool punk music festival coming to the Circle Drive-In in September. So if you want to learn more about that, check our last episode for that. And otherwise, tune in next Wednesday. And if you enjoyed this show, please like and share and tell the algorithm gods that you want to, see more of this type of material because, boy, is it I thought it was funny. I was watching the last episode we did together, which was quite a few years ago when we were still at Cole Creative.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing then too. I was like, oh, the algorithm is really killing us lately. And I'm like, shit, I would kill for those numbers that we were getting then. I'd kill for that right now. So like it's been a slow climb back up to where we were, because we had to take that break because of the pandemic. So that really just,
I mean, also something that I've learned with a lot of these things, if you see this video later, just comment on there and that'll also kick it back up in interest.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're getting comments. And then also, because it's my episode and I don't care, say really mean shit on there, because that's also going to generate interest as well.
Yes.
So that also helps them, and that'll help with other podcasts later on as well. So just comment and like it, and even if this is like you see it 20 years from now, and we're both dead, just still like the damn thing. It'll be a benefit to somebody.
Troll away.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you here next Wednesday at 7:00, and have a good night, everybody.